Hello, and welcome to the top 10 picks of anime released in 2022. This is GamerSensei, and without any time to waste, let's have a look at our list. Number 1. I've somehow gotten stronger when I improved my farm-related skills. A young man named Al Wayne vows to max out all his farm-related skills and become the king of farmers. He finally accomplishes precisely that, to live as the best farmer that ever was. However, on the day he mastered these farm-related skills, his life took a completely different direction from farming. He reaches the apex of his farming skills and earns the title of a first-rate cultivator. Due to this achievement, Al is a ludicrously strong farmer with very broken stats, even stronger than the legendary heroes. Soon after discovering his potential, the royal family enlists his help against the rising number of disasters that coincidentally began right as his true power was awakened. Although reluctant, Al concedes that in order to protect his precious fields, he must do his best to keep all threats at bay, since if the kingdom goes up in smoke, he won't have anywhere to sell his produce. On the whole, this feels like a standard production in terms of plot, quality of animation, and art in general. But this could be an easygoing low-key bit of humor where Al farms, fights, and possibly gets all the girls. Number 2. Reincarnated as a sword. When a 30-year-old salaryman and games enthusiast is suddenly killed in a car accident, he finds himself reborn into a fantasy world, but in the form of a sword. Now he's in search of a beautiful woman to wield him, and a cat girl named Fran might be the exact adventuring partner he needs. After reincarnation, he comforts himself with the idea that the reincarnated beings usually possess amazing stats. He finds out that he has the power of telekinesis, and using this power he easily kills the goblins that came to take the sword. He moves around this new world dealing with monsters in the area, acquiring several skills and abilities. When the sword comes upon a forest filled with monsters, he meets a young girl fleeing from a beast. Grabbing the sword, the girl easily defeats the monster. After introducing herself as Fran, she names the sword Shishu, and officially becomes his wielder. With the help of her new comrade, the young Fran plans to reclaim the pride and honor of her kin, slashing down all her enemies along the way. With an unshakable resolve, she embarks on a journey with her miraculous new sword. Number 3. Love after World Domination. Fudo Aikawa and Dasumi Magahara have just started dating, but no one is allowed to know. Nicknamed Red Gelato, Fudo is the leader of Gelato 5, a group of heroes dedicated to protecting Japan. On the other hand, the Reaper Princess, Dasumi, is one of the combatant leaders of Gecko, an evil secret society bent on world domination and considered Gelato 5's greatest foe. As they pretend to be mortal enemies, Fudo and Dasumi sneak away from battle to spend time together. Despite their inexperience with romance, Fudo and Dasumi strive to make their relationship work while avoiding suspicion from their comrades. With their loyalties divided between each other and their respective sides, the couple have to stay on guard to keep their love a secret from the rest of the world. Number 4. My Dress-Up Darling. High school student Wakana Goju spends his days perfecting the art of making Hina dolls, hoping to eventually reach his grandfather's level of expertise. While his fellow teenagers busy themselves with pop culture, Goju finds bliss in sewing clothes for his dolls. Nonetheless, he goes to great lengths to keep his unique hobby a secret, as he believes that he would be ridiculed were it revealed. Enter Marin Kitagawa, an extraordinarily pretty girl whose confidence and poise are in stark contrast to Goju's meekness. It would defy common sense for the friendless Goju to mix with the likes of Kitagawa, who is always surrounded by her peers. However, the unimaginable happens when Kitagawa discovers Goju's prowess with a sewing machine and brightly confesses to him about her own hobby, cosplay. Because her sewing skills are pitiable, she decides to enlist his help. As Goju and Kitagawa work together on one cosplay outfit after another, they cannot help but grow close, even though their lives are worlds apart. Number 5. The Greatest Demon Lord Reborn as a typical nobody. Having reached the pinnacle of human potential, Varvatos was so powerful that the rest of humankind began calling him the Demon Lord, both fearing and respecting his overwhelming influence. As a result, he felt alienated from his fellow humans, and decides to start anew and reincarnates 3,000 years later as Ard Meteor, the son of a seemingly ordinary couple in a rural town. Unfortunately, he realizes that even after weakening himself, his strength still overshadows everyone in this era. Moreover, his lack of social skills bars him from achieving his goal of making friends. But worst of all, the repercussions of suddenly abandoning his former position have begun to bite him back in some of the most unimaginable ways possible. The story is very well written for a harem-style story with an overpowered main character. The story is actually fairly good and you'll love the character. Number 6. Strongest sage with the weakest crest at birth. Mages randomly acquire one of the 4 crests that represents the extent of their magical capability. Equipped with a crest specializing in creation, a man named Gaius reached the ceiling of his potential, becoming known as the world's strongest sage. Despite his overwhelming power, he desires to possess the mark suitable for close combat and decides to reincarnate far into the future. Thousands of years later, Gaius is reborn as Matthias Hildesheimer, successfully obtaining his long-coveted crest. However, he is surprised to learn that in these times, magic has vastly waned, and the crest that he painstakingly strived to attain is now considered the weakest and called Crest of Failure. Nevertheless, Matthias naturally exceeds all expectations. He enrolls into the Royal Capital's Second Academy, ACING, every trial that comes his way. But soon after, Matthias discovers the dark truth behind humanity's downfall into magical mediocrity, demons, and endeavors to remedy the consequence of his millennia-long absence once and for all. Number 7, SpyxFamily, Season 2. With Anya Forger successfully enrolled at the renowned Eden Academy, Operation Strix advances to its second phase. Fortunately, Anya has already acquired her first of 8 stellar stars. In celebration, Lloyd decides to fulfill her wish to adopt a dog. During their canine search, Lloyd receives new orders about a band of Berlin University students plotting to assassinate Westallus Minister, Brantz, using bombs worn by trained dogs. While Lloyd tries to stop their plans, Anya stumbles upon the terrorists' base of operations. There, she befriends a kind-hearted, clairvoyant dog who the family later names Bond. Although the Forgers continue to lead their individual lives in secrecy, the family, with a new fluffy addition, remains united through all of the unusual obstacles thrown their way. Number 8, Chainsaw Man. Denji is robbed of a normal teenage life, left with nothing but his deadbeat father's overwhelming debt. His only companion is his pet, the chainsaw devil Pochita, with whom he slays devils for money that inevitably ends up in the Yakuza's pockets. All Denji can do is dream of a good, simple life, one with delicious food and a beautiful girlfriend by his side. But an act of greedy betrayal by the Yakuza leads to Denji's brutal, untimely death, crushing all hope of him ever achieving happiness. Remarkably, an old contract allows Pochita to merge with the deceased Denji and bestow devil powers on him, changing him into a hybrid able to transform his body parts into chainsaws. Because Denji's new abilities pose a significant risk to society, the Public Safety Bureau's elite devil hunter Makima takes him in, letting him live as long as he obeys her command. Guided by the promise of a content life alongside an attractive woman, Denji devotes everything and fights with all his might to make his naive dreams a reality. Number 9, The Eminence in Shadow. For as long as he can remember, Minoru Kagenu has been fixated on becoming as strong as possible, which has led him to undertake all kinds of rigorous training. This wish, however, does not stem from a desire to be recognized by others. Rather, Minoru does everything he can to blend in with the crowd. So, while pretending to be a completely average student during the day, he arms himself with a crowbar and ruthlessly thrashes local biker gangs at night. Yet when Minoru finds himself in a truck accident, his ambitions seemingly come to a sudden end. In his final moments, he laments his powerlessness. No matter how much he trained, there was nothing he could do to overcome his human limitations. But instead of dying, Minoru reawakens as Sid, the second child of the noble Kagenu family, in another world, one where magic is commonplace. With the power he so desired finally within his grasp, he dons the moniker, Shadow, and establishes Shadow Garden, a group whose sole purpose is to combat the enigmatic cult of Diablos, an organization born from Sid's imagination. However, as Shadow Garden grows in both membership and influence, it becomes increasingly apparent that the cult of Diablos is not as fictional as Sid had intended. This series has garnered quite the hype after its release. And the credit surely goes to good animation, a relatable male lead, and a bunch of beautiful anime girls who are sure to start waifu wars. And lastly at number 10 we have Bleach 1000 Years Blood War. Substitute Soul Reaper Ichigo Kurosaki spends his days fighting against hollows, dangerous evil spirits that threaten Karakura town. Ichigo carries out his quest with his closest allies, Orihime Inoue, his childhood friend with a talent for healing, Yasutora Sado, his high school classmate with superhuman strength, and Yuryu Ishida, Ichigo's Quincy rival. Ichigo's vigilante routine is disrupted by the sudden appearance of Asgiaro Eben, a dangerous Arrancar who heralds the return of Yhwach, an ancient Quincy king. Yhwach seeks to reignite the historic blood feud between Soul Reaper and Quincy, and he sets his sights on erasing both the human world and the Soul Society for good. Yhwach launches a two-pronged invasion into both the Soul Society and Huko Mundo, the home of Hollows and Arrancar. In retaliation, Ichigo and his friends must fight alongside old allies and enemies alike to end Yhwach's campaign of carnage before the world itself comes to an end. Throughout the season, Bleach, 1000 Year Blood War has given viewers a reason to come back every week. The animation, the music, and the brief character moments all work together to make every moment in the 22-minute runtime feel like the most significant moment in an anime movie. With this ends our recommendation of the top 10 anime of the year to watch. If you enjoyed the video, a subscribe to the channel would be phenomenal. If you have any suggestions for the kind of video or list of anime you would like to see next, let us know in the comment section below.